everybody, it's Rick from pseudosamurai.com, and today we're going to be taking a look at Citrus Editor's LevelManager. So up to this point we've made a level, we have some particles, we do some stuff, and right now though we only have the one level, and you know, maybe we want to add another level. So how are we going to go from one level to the other? You know, how are we going to handle all that? So that's where the level manager comes in. Okay, so where we're going to start is actually building the levels. So I already built a couple levels over here. What I've done is I've made you know, just sort of a zone where I can pick which level I want to go to. Okay, so there's this zone here. And then, let's see, level 1 I finished, right? Before it kind of cut off over here. There wasn't anything. So I added a little bit more, and I have a sensor back here for the end. Okay, so I did that. And then I made a level 2. You know, just doing the same techniques that I showed in the level editor video. So I've got my 3 levels, okay, and make sure I export them, you know, get the Swifts, but I've got all those ready to go, okay. The next thing I need to do is I have my code for my level 1, and what I want to do is really make a superclass for all of my levels, okay, so that I don't have to rewrite a lot of this code over and over again, because all the levels are going to have similar code in it. Okay, so we're going to start off by just making sort of a superclass here. So I'll go new ActionScript class, and you know, you can call this whatever you want, but I'm going to call this game level, like that, and it'll extend Starling state. There we go, and we'll finish that. Okay, and then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to start looking for bits of code that I'm going to reuse, right? So, you know, we'll start just here in the constructor. We call the super. We bring in the level here. We set up our citrus objects, and we create a factory for our dragon bones, right? So I'm just going to copy this and put it in here. Okay, and then I'm of course going to have to you know, do all my instance variables and things like that. Now, one thing I want to note is, so it just made this a private right here, but I might want to be able to access this this variable in my subclass. So instead of private, I'm going to go with protected. Okay, which just means that you know, outside classes aren't really going to have access to this variable, but subclasses will. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of make sure that I'm doing protected instead of private. I mean, some of these variables probably could be private, that the subclass doesn't even really need to know about them. But you know, for flexibility and things like that, and you know, before you optimize the code, you're just trying to get everything working, it's usually a good idea just to, you know, have a little communication between the subclasses. So that's what I'm going to do. So before I even do that, let's see, I have my on dragon right here. I'm probably going to need that. Okay. I'm going to need my embed stuff right here. Again, I want these private. Make those protected like that. All right. So tell you what I'll do is I'll kind of move over the stuff I need so you see kind of what I'm thinking about, and then I'll pause the video while I correct all the errors. So let's see. I'm just going to take this whole function here, all of it, basically, and bring it over here. And then I'll decide what I need and take that out. Okay, so hang on one second. Okay, so I've moved everything from level 1 over to my game level that I think I'll need, that I'll reuse, and then kind of modified level 1 a little bit. So let's take a look at what I did here. First off, I added an extra 2 particles. I added a particle for the end portal, like so when you get to the end of the map over here, these green boxes, I'm going to have like a portal graphic, which will just be a particle system. Same with you know, up here and at the end of level 1 over here. Okay, so I also added a little particle effect for when our hero warps into a level. Okay, so you know, you get at the start of a level, the hero just sort of appears. I'm going to have him kind of appear in a little burst of particles, just, you know, for fun. So I added those 2 particle textures. I still have my dragon, my hero, atmosphere particle, and then the particle coming off of his head. So I have all that still going on. They all use the same texture, so I only have 1 texture class. Okay, the super is pretty much, or the constructor is pretty much exactly the same as it was before. Only instead of level 1, it's in my game level. So I'm making my hero on the game level class, and this will work for my purposes, but you know, if you want to control in each level when something appears, or sort of the Z level, it might be useful to actually instantiate the hero in the level rather than in the super. But for now, this will work. Let's see. Since I use this the same texture particle several times, I just turned it into its own instance variable. So I make my hero particle and my atmosphere particle at the game level, and then add the flame to my hero's head and the atmosphere, and then set up the camera. That's really all that I do in the game level. Obviously, I update. So if I have to reset the hero, move the emitter, and then I took out the code for when the hero falls, because we're going to change that a little bit, and I added a function on end, but it's just a blank method. And then you know, I might do the same with when the hero dies, but for right now let's come over here to level 1. Okay, and so level 1 now extends my game level. Okay, and so you know, when I call the super, it's basically instantiating all this stuff. Okay, and what I added was a couple of instance variables here that describe my level, right? Because down here in the camera, right, I need to know how big my level is, right? But all 3 of these levels are different sizes. So, I mean, I could set up the camera in the level, but instead what I decided to do was set up some instance variables with the size of the level, right? So this one's 3000 by 800 right here. So I set it right here. And then I also have the start position of my hero, because normally, we set that in our hero constructor, right? So now I just have these variables. So at the beginning of my level, I set these values before I run the init. So before this function gets called, right, I set up those variables. That way when I call it, it knows where to put the hero and how big to make the stage for the camera. Okay. Then I added a new particle, right? So this is the starting particle. This is the one that kind of explodes when the hero warps in. And this one I actually gave a time limit to, right? So if this were left blank, it'd be infinite. It would just keep running forever. But this one I'm just going to let it run, you know, however long I want, a second or whatever. So I'll leave it at that. It was at 0.8, but we'll try 1 for now. Like before in the Portal tutorial, I set up the sprite and I make its view, or I set it to the location of the hero, right? And I make the view the particle system. So when the level loads, it'll be right where the hero is. It'll kind of explode and then, you know, disappear. Here's where I set up the end sensor, right? So I get the sensor, the end of the sensor, or the sensor at the end. I'm sorry, I'm stuttering a little bit, but this guy right here, it's just called end, right? Now the reason I didn't do that in here, you know, because that could work, because there's this end here, and level 2 I have the end up here, right? So if we come in, that's called end as well. But for this level, I actually have 2 portals to take me to different places. So you know, I took that out of the Superclass and left it in each class's or each level's class. Okay, so anyway, I get the sensor, and then I make a new particle system, which is sort of the, you know, a wormhole or something that their hero is going to jump into, and it's going to teleport him to the next level. Okay, so I'm just setting that up just like before with the other particles. All right, and then I get a reference to the fall sensor and the spike sensor on my level 1, and then I override those functions, and I have them here and here. Now I don't necessarily have to override them. If I took them out of this class and just made it on this level, that'd be fine. But since, you know, most of my levels are going to have the chance for my hero to fall or for my hero to end, I just kind of have them in there as a you know, kind of a default, so you can pull up that function. But for now, this will work. This will work for what we're trying to do. Okay, so so I've got my game level, got my level. Cool. Now we need to make our level 2, which is going to be very similar to our level 1. All right, so new action script class. We'll call it level 2. And our super class this time is going to be game level, right? Okay, so you know, first thing is we're just going to kind of copy all this so that we know kind of where to work, right? So actually I'm going to copy this whole function. Copy and paste. Okay, good. So first thing is we need to figure out the game width and height. Okay, so we'll come over here, level 2. This one's a little bigger. It's probably going to run really slow with my capture software, but we'll see how it goes. It's 3500 by 1200. You can see down here. Now, it's I will mention that the stage size has nothing to do with the size of the level, right? So if I can make this 1 by 1, and it'll still load in the full level, and my hero can jump around and everything. I just use the stage size to help me figure out what's on camera and what's off camera, right? So if you look over here, I have this little block here because my hero starts right here, and if you're not thinking, you might kind of go along this path over here, right? You might even push this block off the edge and whatever. But if you notice, you can move the block over and jump up here and kind of work your way. It's kind of like a shortcut to the end, really. But I have this guy just so that when he jumps up, he doesn't like just slip off and fall off the edge of the map. Okay, so it just kind of stop him from going wherever. The other thing I'll note that's different from my other level is I have, so the yellow is my platform, right? It's so this is just a sprite, and then the yellow is actually my platforms, right? So I have these blocks. Okay. The green is a one-way platform. Okay, so what that means is it's only you pass through it unless you're falling onto it, essentially, is what the code is. So whereas if I were to run my heroes here, you know, and I were to run, grab my hero, you know, here's my guy, and if I ran into this wall, it would stop me, right? I couldn't go anywhere. All right, but let's say I jump up here and I jump and I hit that, I'll pass right through it. Boom. And I'll stop on this one, right? If I jump up here, I'll pass right through it until I'm falling on top of it. Boom. And then it's solid. It'll stop. Okay, so that's, you know, essentially how the one-way platforms are going to work. And I made them that way just on the off chance that you're trying to jump up here, you hit your head and you can't make that jump, or, you know, it makes it easier to get onto these platforms. So a couple of these platforms I made one way just to, you know, make the traversal of the level a little easier. Because they look like everything else, it's hard to know that they're one-way platforms. You know, if I wanted to spend more time on this level, I'd probably do a different graphic for the platforms you can go through, or whatever. But for now, this is fine. This is what we're going to do here. Okay, so anyway, let me just save that. We'll go back over here. Oh, so the size, 3500 by 1200. So we're just going to change you 35 and 12. Okay, and then my hero start position. I wrote it down already, so where do I want my guy to start? I want him to start at 140 and 1035, just like that. Okay. I could make this an instance variable. Really, it doesn't need to be anything special, so I can just do it right here, like that. And there we go. Okay, so I'm still going to have the particle system for the start and the end. What do I need to do here? I need the fall and the end here. Grab those two. I know I'm reusing a lot from level 1, but you know, for example, when I reach the end, there's going to be some different code in here to take me to whatever level I want to go to versus level 1, right? So level 1, I hit the end, it needs to take me to level 2. Level 2 needs to take me back to level 1, or, you know, however I want to work it out. So it's important that I have these different, even though I'm reusing the same code, I wouldn't want to put it in my game level, the Superclass. Okay, so let's see. I also need to make a level 0. New class, level 0, and it is a game level. Finish. Okay. So for this one, let me look at my notes. Believe it or not, I pre-plan a lot of these tutorials. I have notes on what I'm supposed to be doing here. I know it seems like I'm just randomly talking, and I'm not very good at this yet, but I'm trying. So anyway, really I'm just going to copy pretty much all the same stuff, and have it in here. Okay, and this level is over here. So we want to get the size 1024 by 768. That's the smallest I would go, and that's because of over here in my metadata, I set my window to 1024 by 768. So if I went any smaller than that with my level, it'll you know, have excess around the edges. So I don't want that. So the smallest I can go is that. Anyway, 1024, 768, good. And then my hero start location will be it'll be 490 by 560. Okay, save that. Now on this level, you probably noticed that I have a black background. And the reason I did that is the particle effects show up much better on darker colors, and I don't know, I just wanted a different, just kind of separate it from, I guess, this world, you know. It'll look different. It's like a, I don't know, another world or something along those lines, okay? So what I want to do is give it a background, basically. So before I do the super, we're going to make a little background. Is it going to be a new citrus sprite? We'll just call it background. Oops. And we're going to pass in. I had to play around with this for a little bit to figure out the location. Whoops. D and Y is 100. And we're going to give it a view of, and I made this in Flash. Really, it should probably be a PNG or something. The problem is, over here, I set my background color to that blue. So to get this black, I have to put an actual sprite over the background. And there's different ways. I mean, you can make your own just with code using the drawing API. You can do lots of things. But I made, let's see if I can find it real quick. In the sprites, right here, I have this background Swift. And you can't really see it right now. But it's just this star field of black. Okay, and so I'm going to put that as the background here. All right. Okay. So just do an instance variable. Private's fine, actually. And then we just need to add that. Okay. Then let's see. So this one doesn't have an end, right? So I have this right here is level 2 and level 1, right? So instead of getting my object that way, we're gonna need some different ones. So we'll do portal 1 here. Port 1, get object by level 1. So copy. And actually, I'll talk about that in a second here. Well, okay, so this is our signals listener, okay, which is included in Citrus. And signals is a lot like event listeners, but it works a little bit differently, and it's really pretty ingenious. But it creates objects rather than events where you listen and things like that. I recommend you, if you're interested, to look more into it, because it's a really interesting way to handle events rather than native event listeners. Anyway, when someone hits the portal 1, I want it to go to on port 1, right? And if they hit port 2, I'm going to say on port 2, right? This one's 2, 2, good. And we'll just set up an instance variable here. And here. Okay, and now we need essentially one of these. Here we'll just paste. Paste. There we go. Now it's still giving me an error because when I made these instance variables, it turned them into citrus objects. They need to be sensors. Sensor, sorry. Alright, now it should work better. Oh, and we can't override anything. This is just going to be its own function. Why is it still giving me an error here? Okay, so I copied this twice, so I had 2 of them on there, and that's why it was giving me a problem. So I just needed to scroll down further to see what was going on. So anyway, so I have my, actually I'm going to move you. Yeah, I have my port 1 and port 2 right here. Now the way the level's set up, I have it hidden, but you can see I have some walls here. So the person can't just jump off the edge. They're right here. It'd actually be pretty hard for them to jump over the portal, I think. But at any rate, they can't fall out of this level. So I don't really need this fall event at all. Okay. And I can get rid of you too. And there are no spikes, so I don't need those. Okay. So really I just have portal 1 and portal 2, right? Now I have portal particle, right? So I need 2 of these basically. So I'm just going to copy this, 1 for each portal, right? And then we'll just call you 1, 1, 1, 1, and you're 2, 2. 2 and 2. All right, and I can just make these local, right? So PD particle system. System, and you are a citrus sprite. Okay. Why does it have a problem with that? Oh, because it's a Vaver. There you go, that's better. Okay, so all this stuff is I'm just making 2 portals, 1 for each sensor, essentially. And they should have different names here, right here and here. And then we want it to align with, so we have our port 1 and port 2, right? So we want be port 1 right here, and port 2 right here. And the view for these guys, right, is obviously going to be our particle system. So whoops, just like that. Okay, so if I did that right, that should all make sense. Okay. And I don't need a citrus object up here. Okay, good. So hopefully all our levels are correct. Now what we need to do is finally get into the what this is all about, our level manager. Okay, so the level manager, I definitely recommend looking at it to see how it works. It's a pretty clever little class. So it kind of accounts for anything. If you're loading in a Swift or an XML from like a tiled or another map editor or something like that, it figures out what it is and loads it the way it needs to load. Okay. There's some things that I think it could use, so I might go in there and kind of play with it, make my own version. But definitely try and understand the class. Take a look at it. It's in the core, the Citrus core. But we're just gonna, do this. So I don't need to load my level anymore because the level manager is going to do it for me. Okay. So first thing I want to do is I'm going to make a variable called levels, and it's going to be an array, and in it I'm going to have all my levels. So we'll say level level 0, right? And its location is going to be levels level 0 dot Swift. Okay. So my first object has the class and the path, right? So level 0 over here is connected to the level 0 class. Great. Next up, we need level 1, right? And that is connected to level 1 Swift, right? And one more. Actually, we'll just copy that. And then we have level 2 and level 2. Okay. So we have an array with, I'm getting some weird error here. It doesn't matter. Let me just change this to levels, and it's going to be an array. I can get rid of you. Actually, I can get rid of all of you. Okay, so I just have an array with my 3 levels. Next up, I need my level manager. Okay, and it's just going to be a new level manager, right? And then we need to pass in sort of the superclass of our levels. So I'm going to pass in game level, right? Okay. Next up, manager. Sorry. We're going to attach a level listener, basically. So we're going to listen for when there's a change in the level, right? So on change, we need to respond to that. Okay, let's see if So we're going to make a method called onChange. Okay, and we need to pass in, or rather accept, right? So when the signal is called, it's going to send us back our a class of game level, right? It'll send us back one of the levels, essentially. The nice thing about object-oriented programming or inheritance like that is, since we don't know what level we're going to get back, we could get back level 0, we could get back level 2, we could get back level 1. We don't know what we're going to get, okay? But since they all are subclasses of game level, we can just accept a game level, right? And any one of those, and it won't throw an error, okay? So, so that's what we're accepting when there's a change, okay? Now we need to set up the levels, right? So our LevelManager dot levels is equal to our levels. And really this didn't need to be an instance variable, I guess. I suppose I could just copy these and put them right here, actually, if I want. So we'll do that. Okay, so now we have the levels, and then we get to tell it to start. So we say go to level, and then we pass in what level we want. So the thing to note about this is these count like 1, 2, 3. Even though array is 0, 1, 2, 3, I want to go to the first level, so I'm going to type in 1 rather than 0. It's so if I leave it blank, it'll just go to the first level. Okay, so I can do that. Right? I no longer need to listen for my onload event. Okay, so in here we set the state, our game state, to the level, right? But we also want to listen to that level, right? So we're going to attach a signal. So we're gonna listen for next level at, and then we'll call a function called next level. Okay. Now it's thrown us an error because we don't have these listeners on here yet. Okay, so anyway, we'll cover that in a second. So the next level right here, let's see if we can generate it. Nope, not gonna let us. We'll just do this. Copy, paste. It helps when you're copying and pasting to say copy and paste. I find it very useful. Not really. Okay, and what this is going to take is, what level we're going to go to. Okay, so the level manager has a built-in class called next level and previous level. Okay, and that'll take you to the next one over, or the last one, right? And that's fine. But the way I have this set up, where you can jump into level 1, and level 1 takes you back here, and then you jump into level 2, and level 2 takes you back here, is I need to be able to say what level I want to go to. So what we're going to do is we're going to take in the level number, basically. So we'll just say I. You can do a uint there, and I, very descriptive variable, by the way. Anyway, level manager, right? Dot, we'll go to, and then we'll just pass in I. So it'll take us to whatever level we want. Okay. All right, cool. So let's deal with this next level thing. So I'm going to come over here to my game level. Okay, and what it's doing is it's looking for a signal up here. And I've already imported the signal, but what we're going to do is we're going to add, we need 2. So the level manager class requires two signals to be on this class. Okay, so we'll make it public variable, and the 2 we need our level ended, right? And it's of type signal. And then we need, I just cannot type for the life of me, restart level. Okay. Level. And that is a signal. And then what I'm going to add is my own. So I'm going to call public var, and I'm just going to call it next level. All right. And then is type signal. Gosh. Sorry, I can't type at all. Anyway, now by adding that next level, notice that my error went away over here. Okay, because it's part of this this game level. So next level. Cool. So it's on here. Now, just because I have the variable doesn't mean I've instantiated. So I need to come down here, and right here, I need to level ended is equal to a new signal, right? And then we need restart level. It bothers me that in the game class you have level this way and then level this way, but whatever. New signal, and then finally mine is next level equal to new signal. Okay, good. So now now we can pass messages around. So with our level manager here. Okay, good. So now on level 1, when we fall, right, what I want to happen is to go back to level 1, basically. So restart the level, in essence, right? So if I say next level dot dispatch, and I send in 1, well, actually, level 1 is technically 2 because 0 is our 1, right? It'll start that level, if that makes any sense. Okay. And then on end, we want to go back to the 0 level, right? So we'll say next level dot dispatch, and we'll go to level 1 in that case. Okay. All right, and here we'll do the same thing. So if you fall, we'll say next level dispatch, and then this time we need to go to level 3. Right. Now I probably should have lined up my levels with my numbering system, but I already had level 1, so you know, what are you gonna do? So 2 is actually 3. Okay, and then at the end of the level, we want to go back to level 1, our level selector zone. Okay, and here we go. On portal 1, we want to say next level is level 2. Whoops, gotta dispatch it first. 2 and copy, and this is 3. I like that. The other thing I need to do over here is notice that I'm checking against end, right? And that's not quite right. I want portal 1 or port 1, and this one is port 2, like that. Okay. The other thing is I was looking at this and I need to make sure that I'm getting the object by name, I want level 2 here. Okay. All right, good. Now, if I did everything right, this should all work. Okay, so let's test it out. Yeah, so come up here and look at that. I have my dark background. I have my guy. Now look at how nice the particles look on the dark background. Right here I've got my portals, right? Even my head flame looks pretty cool. Alright, so let's jump over here into level 1. And look at that. I'm in level 1. Squash that guy. Let's see if I can get to the end of the level without dying real quick. You can barely see the portal there, but it was there. Notice the explosion when I appeared. That's the jump into level. Oh, and I had a problem. What's the problem? Oh, you know what the problem is let's close this real quick. If we look at level 2 over here, I have multiple spikes set up. Let me see here. So I've got these guys. Spikes 1, spikes 2, and spikes 3. But there is no spikes. So right here, when it tried to find object by name spikes, it failed. So we'll go spikes 1. There's a better way to do this, but I'm in a hurry, so we'll just do this. Oops. And sound effects always help. Whoops. And so does saying whoops. There you go. No objects. Stop that. All right. Where's my error now? Oh. Okay, so in theory that should work. Let's try it again. All right, here's my guy. He just exploded onto the scene, and we jump into this portal, and he exploded there too. Oh, looks like my location is inside the floor, so we're gonna have to fix that. And I pushed off my box, so I can't take my shortcut over here. This is going pretty slow because of the capture software. So let me change one more thing, and then I can move on. So let's try 1030. Hopefully that. Here's my guy, level 1, level 2. Hey, there we go. So. It's funny when the frame rate really slows down like this. I can kind of float around a little. And it's much harder to play, actually. Jump on that block. Yeah. I got to get to the end so that we can test it, make sure it works, and then I'll leave you guys alone. Alright, so make that jump. Jump. Kill. Oh, I'm a killing machine. Look at that. So, anyway, hopefully this gives you an idea of how to kind of structure your levels or your game so that you can jump in between levels and do whatever you need to do. So, look how light that portal is. I'm still having trouble with the particle designer getting it to look right on lighter colors. You know, I've played with all the blend modes and everything. It's just, you know, maybe just having a light background like that isn't a good idea. Oh, and we threw a problem. See, this is why we test. Yeah, so I'm an idiot. You probably saw it and were screaming at the screen if you were watching the video earlier. I didn't call dispatch, so right here. That needs to be 1. Save it. Now I have to get to the end of that level again. Dang it. Alright, sorry. I swear I'm not trying to make this run long. Yeah, it's still recording. Okay. No! Oh, no. I guess I'll have to do it the old-fashioned way here. Actually, I put in several little helper spots to try and cheat. Oh, for crying out loud. But they're not helping me at all. Yeah, I made it a harder level. That's right. Now we gotta wait for this platform. So, definitely gonna do sound here pretty soon, and I think I will add elevator music to this part right here. Cha 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 cha. All right, cool. Or maybe I'll just increase the speed of this lift. Notice I put 2 on there. That was kind of lazy. Rather than making a larger sprite, I just did 2 of them. 2 moving platforms. Oh, here's yet another secret. Oh, I'm not gonna make it. Gosh, I'm just determined to do this stuff. Oh god, I died. Well, anyway, I'm pretty sure it'll work. Oh, I should have fell sooner. What was I thinking? Now I'm just wasting your time. So I'm certain it'll work if I could ever get there. It's a matter of pride now. I have to get there. Have to. You'll notice that the spikes still reset my position, and that position is set to the starting location in the game level, and that's why I started in an odd spot. Yeah, this is one of the problems. So you can't kill the guys from the side very easily. It's a little tricky. But anyway, I started, or when I hit the spikes, I fell from way up high, and that was because the reset position. Obviously, I'd want to change that in the code for each level to start me at the beginning. Probably restart the level, obviously. Look at that, I nailed it. Still gotta wait. Yeah, definitely speed up all these moving platforms, I think, is the new goal. Next tutorial will be entirely me speeding up these platforms. Oh god. I'm getting dangerous. Whee! Alright, and yes! I know what the heck I'm doing. Sometimes. Right on. Anyway, this is becoming an hour-long tutorial, so hopefully you now know how to set up your level manager and you can jump from multiple levels. Probably next time I want to cover level transitions. So instead of just, you know, snapping to the next scene, you can have like a loader to see progress of you loading the next level. We can also slide it in from the side or fade it in or do all kinds of things. So that should be pretty interesting, and that'll be sometime next week. So see you then.